Good evening, everybody. I am happy to have you here again today. Today is my interview day, and I just wanted to share with you that we have a very special lady all the way from Singapore today, Georgina Halabi, and we are going to be dazzled by her brilliance and her beauty and her just awareness of the world and the power of the now. And we are all going to have an opportunity to listen to her wisdom and to ask her questions later if there's anybody here that has a question, if we haven't answered all the questions already, right, Georgina? So
right.
Absolutely. And my name is Dean Brown, a holistic life coach. And as you know, I'm here introducing Georgina Halabi. I am a brother to those that know me and a friend to those that don't. And I'm happy to be here and to be presenting to you Georgina Halabi. Welcome, Georgina.
Hello, lovely to be here, Dean. And I'm just sort of trying to step into the dazzle and the wisdom mindset. Hold on. Okay, I'm ready.
Are you ready? Here we go. Beautiful thing, beautiful thing. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do, Georgina, is to just give me a bit of a background on who you are, what your story is, and what inspired you to pursue the career that you have now. Are you willing to share that with us?
Sure, absolutely.
Go ahead.
So I'm a holistic executive life coach, but really, if you boil it down, I'm a mindset and well-being coach. And I help professionals to achieve their vision of success, whatever that is, but without compromising their self-care needs. And if I'm to sort of distill it down into my sweet spot, it's really helping people who are on the emotional disconnect and the emotional overwhelm balance to be able to connect back into themselves and trust themselves, and to release all of those doubts and those fears and those nagging thoughts that are holding them back, so that they can step into their own wisdom, their own power, their own beauty. By way of background, it's always been very important for me to reconcile two different sides of myself, because I'm a Gemini. So there's that need for outer success and to constantly prove and to succeed and to grow. And there's that other completely hippie side that would love being in a field or on a beach and, just having it large and living in the present. So I've always had those two aspects. And my career before I became a coach was really in advertising and marketing technology. And so I do know all about overwhelm and stress and pressure to succeed and how important it is to maintain mindset.
Yes.
At the same time, growing my own inner reservoir of self-connection and self-trust.
Beautiful.
So that's been really, really important to me.
Yes, and that self-connection and self-trust is so important, because if you don't have that, you lock up with fears and judgment, and you just can't move forward unless you have that.
Absolutely. I mean, the way that you see yourself is probably the most powerful thing that affects everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what is as you've got to this point in your life and you've become a successful executive coach or a mindset and well-being coach, what do you think you wish you would have known before you actually started? Is there something significant you can share with us?
Philosophically, I struggle with this question, because I believe that I'm in the right place at the right time, and that having known anything before then would have cheated me in the process to get there.
Fair enough.
I think we're all evolving and we're all growing. And so I don't think there's anything that I wish I'd known. I could have said, I wish I'd realized I could have done this sooner, but then I would have missed all of the opportunities and the knowledge within that.
That's right. And you struck on something that I firmly believe, is that you said that we are now where we should be. And if we were to change any of that, then we wouldn't be who we are now. Right. So that's very powerful. Thank you, Georgina. I appreciate that. So throughout that, I'm going to suggest that possibly this next question doesn't really mean anything to you, because I was going to ask you now, when people say failure, I prefer to call it a lesson. What would you think would be your biggest lesson that got you where you are now?
Just to trust that inner voice, that quiet voice, different than the gremlins, right? Just trust that inner voice within you that knows. So to me, it was the one that just said, you're not serving anyone powerfully being in this job that you're in. Go do what you need to be doing to help others. So that's probably been my biggest lesson. I could have built that on the back of failures, saying, I was maybe doing things that were distracting me from that, focusing on a career and bringing in money. But
Right.
I also see the opportunity in that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. And a lot of the things that we find in life are lessons that, I mean, this is kind of repeating what we've already talked about in a way, because we need those lessons to become who we are, to have the wisdom that we have, to know for ourselves what we need to do, but also to help other people get to that place as well. And as a coach, that is the thing that matters the most. If we have that inner wisdom, that inner growth, we've done it ourselves, then we can help other people do it with more power, more definition. We know we're getting them to the right place in the now. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. There's something else that's coming up for me, Dean, as we're talking about that. And that idea is, if I look at my relationship with the word failure, I think I don't want to denigrate that word. I think it's a really important word, because when we do feel like a failure or we're not good enough at something, it's pointing at a trigger within ourselves that we can then go with less.
That's right.
And I think that's really, really important. I think that's the key to turning it into an empowered evolution. And when we had just a little chat before this, you and I, before we went live, you talked about how you're reaching so many dads out there through the power of your own experience. And if I look at myself, if I'm being completely honest, and it's just you and me talking, we're forgetting about however many people that might be listening. If I'm to be completely honest and to look at one of my own concepts or feelings, not rational thought, but feelings of failure, it's around being a good mum. I constantly feel that I'm never good enough as a mum. And
now, go ahead, keep going.
And that has led me on a huge journey of trying to improve myself.
Yes.
Trying to understand my weak spots. And will I ever grow out of being a reactive mum and having my buttons pushed? I don't know, but I'm trying.
Yes. And the beautiful thing about children, and as a powerful dad, I am not living with my children because of a breakup in the past. But I still have a powerful love for my children, all of them. Some of them speak to me, some of them don't, which is, presents me with greater challenges, the possibility that I would accuse myself of being a failure in some regards. But I'm always open to love. And I try to avoid judgment of what the other people are thinking or why they did what they did. And I think as a parent, that is probably our biggest challenge, is to not come right out and say, why did you do that? Right? Because as much as you want to know the explanation, you've already kind of judged them as to why they would do that when you do that. And so we have to have that love, that paternal or maternal love, to make sure that we come from a place of love and give them the chance to grow by coaching them and helping them from that place of love that doesn't include judgment. Would you agree?
Yeah, I do agree. And I think that, it's a struggle. I would love to be there as a guide for my daughters, to be a guide walking alongside of them instead of standing either side, sort of shimming them along. No, don't go this way, do go this way. And it's not easy. But I'm hearing the huge amount of awareness and compassion that you've got for yourself. And I think that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
If we can't love ourselves, it's pretty hard to love anybody else, I would say.
Right. And that's the sort of example that we need to be showing to our kids.
So cool. So for someone that's thinking of becoming a mindset and well-being coach, what would you suggest that they, a piece of advice that you'd share with them to help them avoid any pitfalls, or make those, go down those rabbit holes that maybe would keep them from having a quicker success or a greater success? What would you share?
Trust your heart and don't listen to your mind.
Can you expand on that a little bit? Maybe about the law of attraction or your philosophy or something along those lines?
So based on my own experience and what I've witnessed working with others on a very, very deep level, when you get them to center into themselves and connect, right, they always know their own truth north. They're always able to give themselves the best wisdom. And that comes from a place of heart-led compassion. It always comes down to, I need to be kinder on myself. I need to be more intentional. I need to be more compassionate. The heart always rings true. Mm-hmm. Whereas the mind, a lot of that comes from self-serving, protectionism, or fear, a lot of it comes from the environment that we've been fostered in. Some of it is down to nature, right? So genetic predispositions to behave in certain ways or react in certain ways or to think in certain ways. But the heart is just, it undercuts all of that. It just knows. So I have a mantra that I just say, my heart is the captain and my mind is the crew.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Now, how would you suggest or define your ego fits into that?
So how much time do we have here?
Not that much.
Yeah. So the ego is all about self-protection. I studied Buddhist philosophy for 4 years. And I have a fundamental belief that there is no such thing as self. We are a concept of ourselves, which allows us to keep on growing and evolving.
That's right.
But the ego is our belief in the rigidity and inflexibility of who we are, because it's safe to think like that. It likes playing small. It likes saying, I am who I am and everybody else is different. You have to conform to me. And it comes from that back of your brain, right? That childhood mentality. But when you're older, as you grow, you're able to step into your own consciousness and go, okay, well, actually, do I want to question my ego? Is it true? Am I completely rigid and fixed? Is my view the only view? Am I myself? And if you start to question powerfully who you are and who that self is, it's unsustainable.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely unsustainable. So the ego plays into the mind.
Yes. And then the mind tells those stories, and then we allow the fear to believe those stories, and then we're not ourselves anymore.
Exactly. Whereas, you see, the heart and the mind are also interdependent. Everything is interdependent.
Yes.
You need both to constantly evolve.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. It's not like the mind is moot. It's put it in Star Wars terms, right?
Okay.
It's always that dark side, the back of the brain, that light side, or it's like the fears and the heart. They're always there to constantly keep whittling us away at us, to help us refine, to help us grow, to help us learn.
That's right. Yin and yang.
You need both. Yin and yang. Perfect.
Yep. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now, I'm going to carry on with the purest of beliefs that you have a great training because you've studied Buddhism and the Eastern philosophies and so on and so forth. For someone that wants to do that, or at least begin to get a feel for how to do that, what resource would you suggest for them?
Well, I would suggest dipping your toe in anything to do with mindfulness, and it depends how open you are. So if you want to go full on, I would say go do a retreat. Anything to do with mindfulness or Hinduism or Taoism or Buddhism, they're very, very similar philosophies, but really about centering in. I also have free mindfulness workshops that I've been running for my clients. If you want to have a taste of it, you could go to my YouTube channel, which you can get via my website, and see how that resonates with you.
Beautiful.
But I also really believe that there's no one right way. You need to work out what connects best with you.
Well, exactly, because if I find that with many of the people that I help is that I hear I don't want to and I can't. And you have to find a way, I think, to help them see past that for themselves. And it's always going to be a different picture, depending on the individual, depending on their past, depending on the strength of their ego, based on their compared to their heart, and where the center is and all of that. Can you speak to that? Do you agree with that?
I think everybody, whether or not they know it, has it already in them.
Yes.
It's not a question of I can't, it's just I'm not aware yet.
There we go.
And I would say, right, do you sit and have a coffee and think to yourself? Well, there you go, introspective awareness, meditator. Do you like a good book? Do you like jigsawing or whatever it is, hiking, whatever? There you go. You're able to turn your mind inwards and start looking at yourself and creating awareness. And from there, you create insights. You're able to determine your own patterns. Right?
Beautiful, beautiful.
I think everybody has it.
I like to go for a walk in my local neighborhood. There's a beautiful park with a creek flowing through it. and I like to go down to the creek where the rocks have the water flowing in. You can hear the water flowing, and I find that the sound of the water flowing is very meditative. Very it helps me be introspective. It helps me shed the outer fluff of life, and gets me closer to who I truly am. And I found that I record that and share it, and that is one of the most appreciated recordings and shares that I get, is that time at the creek.
Can I share something with you on that?
Absolutely.
I saw that on your Facebook as well, and I thought it's lovely. And one of the things that I did hypnobirthing for both my girls, my hippie side coming out now.
Yeah.
And one of the techniques that we learned as well, when you've got a newborn baby, is you make shushing sounds, right? It's like water rushing, and you jiggle them about a bit, and it instantly soothes your child. I mean, they could be the most fractious child ever, but they get to sleep straight away. And it's that feeling of being in the womb again, of having that sound of that blood rushing past you, and feeling connected and supported and safe.
Wow, beautiful.
That's what comes up for me.
Beautiful. I love that. Yeah, and that would only come from a mother, right? So a father knowing that would only be because he was taught it, not because it was intuitive to him, right?
But then again, you were on the receiving part. You were interdependent with your mother. You were the one being soothed by it. True,
very, very true. So I appreciate that immensely, because that's a great insight. That's something that I hadn't considered, because I see that truth in so many people that are rearing children, that they're able to calm them with those two actions, with the sound and the movement. And that, that's the same as wrapping them in a blanket nice and tight, because that's the way they wear in the womb, nice and tight and nice and warm, right? So very, very powerful. Thank you so much. I appreciate that insight. Very powerful. Very powerful. So what would, in the last little while, I'm going to ask you about your latest inspiration. Have you read a book, or you've listened to someone talk, or have you had any sort of experience that's been a great inspiration for you recently?
I'm reading a really good book now called Flawsome, Flawsome.
Okay.
It's by a lady called Georgina Halabi, and she's actually a friend of my little sister's. So I know her personally, and she's quite a remarkable person. She's worked with feedback systems, corporate feedback systems.
Okay.
And I wasn't expecting this level of stunning self-awareness, because she uses internal awareness. Right. And she was able to there's so much percolating in my mind from so many different sources. I mean, I read a lot. It's my favorite pastime. That she kind of brought it all back together and solidified it. And you know how sometimes you can have the same thing, hear the same thing over and over and over again, but one time you hear it and the penny drops.
Yes.
This book is doing it for me. So I really recommend Flawsome. But there are so many different other books that, have been so useful.
And that's the thing. As long as we're willing to absorb information and hear the perspectives from other people that have that wisdom that we're seeking, I think that's one of the most powerful things we can do for our own inner growth. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's super powerful, because if we don't learn anything, we don't grow. And if we're in that place where we think we've already got it all figured out, we can tell ourselves, I don't need that. I don't need that. And that's what I was speaking to earlier, is that I don't need, or I don't want, that sort of thing. Because people already figure, I'm just fine the way I am. I don't need to get any better. Well, meanwhile, we're here for a physical journey. That means that we're on a journey. That means we need to progress. A journey doesn't happen if you're sitting still, right?
The world will just pass you by.
Right.
It reminds me of this really cool analogy that I was taught, a coffee cup analogy, right, which allows you to check your own intention and your own mindset before you go in to learn new things, be it reading a book, be it going on a training session or a coaching session or classroom, whatever it is. They go, imagine your mind is like a coffee cup, right? Turn it over and empty it. Like you say, if you already know anything, how are you going to learn? It's just going to flow over the top of it. And then the next thing, once it's empty, is just check for impurities. What's your intention and your motivation for being there? Is it to validate yourself? In which case, what's that about? There's the little insights. Is it because you are looking for guidance because you don't trust yourself? Great. These are all clues. What are the impurities that you can become aware of? And then the other one is check there's no hole in the bottom of the coffee cup. right? Are you
Right.
in the right mind where you're actually able to absorb and retain? Or are you sitting in back-to-back Zoom meetings all day and just through one ear and out through the other?
Right.
So,
Beautiful. Beautiful. I like that. I like that. And I use a coffee cup. I don't have one here at the moment, but I see that you do.
yeah. Here's my coffee cup.
Right there.
It's
Beautiful. Mom
morning
even.
here. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You're in Singapore, so you're just getting up, eh?
No, it's like 10:30 already. Been
Okay.
up quite
Okay.
well.
Are you willing to share your morning routine? How you go about starting your day?
Sure. So it depends. Sometimes I have to get up really, really early, and if I do for coaching, I'll just jump straight on a coaching call. But what I like to do is, my kids are old enough now; they will come in on their way to school for cuddles, and then they'll head off, and then get up and do some stretching and some meditation, and then have breakfast, and then I'm straight to work.
Now, I learned something today about a fellow from the UK who works from home and always enjoyed walking to work. But once he started working from home, there was no need to walk to work. But he chose to walk to work anyway because it gave him the opportunity to get out, get some fresh air, reconnect with nature, and to actually give his mind a clearing chance, get his mindset and his well-being in place. But all he was doing was walking away from home and then back to home. And then when he got home, he was ready to carry on with his day. So that's pretty powerful. Now, you mentioned stretching and meditation. Do you feel that there's a better way to do one or the other? Should you do one before the other, or is that a personal choice thing?
I think it depends on what people feel best doing. Whatever helps them get centered and present.
I find with meditation, I find that if I haven't stretched first, I find I'm not as comfortable as I could be in my meditation.
So stretching is a really good way of anchoring your mind into your body and becoming present. It takes you out of all of your thoughts because your body only exists in the present. It can't exist in the future or the past, and there's
That's
no
right.
story around it.
Yep.
So you're starting to build your awareness. It is really good to help you power down into yourself. I find that if I'm doing meditations such as single pointed concentration, so it might be breath or clearing my mind or whatever, the body is a really good way of doing that, by stretching or whatever. But if I'm doing insight meditation, then I don't necessarily need to do the stretching because my mind is already all over the place. I'm able to just point it and shoot.
So when it comes to the meditation, you mentioned insight and the visualizing of what I call it. Do you find that there's a better, what I do personally, and I'd love to hear your opinion, is I start with the breath and the mantra, and then I go to the visualization. Would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, it's very similar to the methodology that I was taught. Part of our studying every day, that was practice. Go sit on the mat and do it. And there was a certain method that they found through millennia, thousands of years of understanding the mind and how it works and how to sort of tame it or bring it down. And that actually does follow very much your direction or your process. So with them, it starts by calling in your senses, being aware of sounds, sights, tastes, tactile sensations, bringing that in, setting the intention for the meditation, offering gratitude to open up your heart, and then focusing on the single pointed concentration. So that's using breath. It could be at your abdomen if you've got monkey mind and it's all over the place, or if you're more stable at the tip of your nose, or to your heartbeat, or whatever it is. So what that does is it gives you the stability of meditation. And once you've got that, you've got the platform with which to apply wisdom, the insight meditation.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I like the way you shared that.
It makes it more powerful. Yeah.
Yes. And that helps me understand the way that I am doing it, as I can embellish that and make it more effective and more, I don't know if enjoyable. Can you use the word enjoyable with meditation? I think that is a powerful word for meditation, isn't it?
I can offer you a really useful tip that can help it become more enjoyable. So And this goes straight to positive psychology. I love this. It's the idea that we're always picking on ourselves when we notice we're not doing something right.
Yes.
On the mat and in life, right? We do it all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas setting your intention and sitting in the meditation and noticing whenever your mind wanders or you're doing something that isn't according to your intention, instead of going, oh God, I'm a bad meditator, I'm doing this wrong. You see the I and the ego and everything else.
Right.
Is we just acknowledge and we congratulate our awareness for picking it up, and we celebrate that. And
yes.
So our mind and our ego likes that as a hook, because it goes, oh, I want these pats on the back. Oh, I like it. So you're actually leveraging your ego to do your work for you, so that you start to notice whenever your mind wanders, and it will go, oh, me, I've noticed, and it will bring it back. So it becomes a journey of noticing what your mind attends to and being able to understand all the insights from catching yourself in the act of those thoughts and those stories. Beautiful. And then bringing yourself back to center. And I think that's something that we can do more in life. So instead of when we're in a chance or an opportunity to learn or evolve, rather than go, that's a failure, as we were talking about earlier, that's wrong, we go, wow, I've just caught myself about to do that. Isn't that amazing? Now what am I going to do with that?
Exactly.
Then it becomes more enjoyable.
And there's something in my high performance coaching. I have a one-on-one coach from the High Performance Institute with Brendan Bouchard. And one of the things that I learned through that, as before I learned to meditate, was that we have what's called a stimulus response gap that leads us to our growth edge. And that stimulus response gap is that point of time where we are aware of the stimulus and our response and what we're going to do. And the growth edge is the choice we make within that space.
Yeah. And being able to stretch that out.
Yes.
So,
right. Yeah. So rather than reacting, we're responding.
Yeah.
I find that very powerful. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Is it something like I read recently, or not that recently, so forgive me if it's not exactly right, but it's something like 0.4 of a second.
Yes. Very fast.
Yeah, where your instinctive reflexes kick in and you actually do the pre-programmed responses.
That's the instinct. That's the instinct. But the choice follows after that. That's where we actually say, wait now, you did this yesterday and it wasn't very successful. So why are you choosing to do it again? Right. Yeah. Right. And this is where we can catch ourselves and we can employ the ego to say, this is your chance to learn. Yeah. This is your growth edge. Right. So very powerful. Thank you, Georgina. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I want to thank you for just reflecting that back at me, Dean, because I think I've just had my own aha moment with a space that I'm not applying that in, and that I think it would really, really help. I have a trigger with my daughters where I will be patient, then I'll hulk. They keep pushing me and I'll hulk. And I've been trying to find for years and years and years ways of elongating that tiny pause in behavior, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Stimulus response. And I think I need to keep growing my pat on the shoulder muscle, training my mind. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. That's why we coach each other. That's what coaches do, right? As we grow, this is why I'm doing these interviews, because I'm finding so many insights from other professionals, and it's helping me be so aware of what's going on. And Edith is here saying that I had a great question. So I just wanted to share that with you. There's Edith saying, great question, Dean. So that was very cool. I appreciate that. Thank you, Edith. You're happy to have you here. Yeah. And you can ask more questions. You can actually ask a question if you'd like, Edith. That's all good. And so in that's very powerful. Now, getting to this point in our lives, in our professions, how would you give kudos to your most influential, your inspirational person in your life, whether it be mentor, family, history, something you read from an author, or maybe your grandfather. Grandfather's been a big thing today. Who would you share that, or who would you give credit to for that as your greatest inspiration?
I don't think I have one greatest inspiration. Mm-hmm. I have quite a few different influences in my life with which I've been able to cherry pick and extract different learnings or insights. But I wouldn't say there's been one overall. And some of those influences have been as much about learning how not to be as
Mm.
other ones showing me about how to be.
So
So,
take me, go ahead.
so I would give kudos to all of them, because ultimately they have played a role in my part that I've called them into play. I've called them into teaching me or reflecting back to me. So I would also acknowledge my role in that, and
Oh,
how we're interdependent. We're all there for each other, good
yes,
or
yes,
bad.
absolutely. And the amazing thing is that we are being taught by good examples and bad examples at all times, right? There's always something that is a lesson for us. Is it good or is it bad? And you know, there's we get to choose that. We get to choose that. So you know,
Oh,
it's
Dean,
a beautiful thing.
I've heard myself reflecting back from you, and there I'm going judgment, judgment, judgment. I use the
Yeah,
word good, bad.
yeah,
These are all labels. These are all judgments.
right.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of power in making those choices, right?
yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing. And um, as we move forward, I'm just wondering. Um, just give me a moment here. I'm doing a comment. I I'm very, very inspired by the way you've shared that. And this brings me to the myth point. Um, are you in a place where you have a myth or something along those lines that you'd like to debunk?
I'd say the biggest myth of all that we're all striving to debunk for ourselves. There's two,
Go
right?
on. Yeah.
One is I am not enough,
Right.
which is the mind talking, not the heart.
Right.
And then the other one is I am alone.
Yes. Yeah. And you're never alone.
Never alone.
Never alone. As a spiritually connected person, there's the awareness that we have that connection is very, very powerful. And you always know that in that is your greatest support and your greatest move attempts or power to move forward to your next level of self, right? So that's very, very powerful. Very powerful. Awesome, awesome. And so that was a good one. And I agree with you 100%. Now, we're at that point now where I'm, running out of questions for you. Is there a question that I haven't asked that you would like to be asked?
Maybe motivation, what my biggest intention is.
Go ahead, tell me more.
I think earlier you before this call, you talked
Yeah.
about the reason that you're here
Yes.
on Earth, right? And I
Yeah.
think the reason that I'm here is because I want to show people that they are amazing and brilliant and wonderful just as they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just as they are.
Just as they
And
are.
that it's okay to be human, and it's okay to be disconnected from yourself, and
Yes.
it's okay to be all of those things. This
Yeah.
is the human condition.
Yeah.
And there are steps that you can take to reconnect. You're not alone. You have everything inside you that you need.
Yes.
And so my mission is to help people reconnect back into that self-trust and that self-connection where they just know.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Now I'm opening up the floor for people that want to ask sensible questions. The last little while at this time of night, I've been getting people that have been asking foolish questions and stuff like that. So we'll just ignore those foolish people because they're not part of the program, and I won't even acknowledge them if they want to be foolish with their questions. But I have had good questions earlier today. I had some really good questions, and they were very, very powerful for the person that I was interviewing, and I really, really appreciated it. And at this point in time, I was going to suggest that you share with me what your biggest goal is. What is the thing, your legacy that you're trying to create for yourself and for your family?
Oh, so my goal and my legacy are two different things. My legacy, you know, when you talk about what you want as your eulogy,
Yes.
is very, very clear. It's, I want to have made a deep emotional impact on people's lives.
Yeah.
Transformative impact. That's my
Cool.
shining goal, right?
Yeah.
My goal on a day-to-day basis is to practice what I preach.
Very good.
Because
Very good.
you know, a coach is only as good as the work that they do on themselves, and that whole idea about constantly wanting to achieve and to do more whilst being happy in the present,
yes,
is a really hard balancing act, and it's something that I'm constantly learning and doing, but I appreciate the whole journey.
Of course.
Once again, that sort of interconnection of helping evolve. So I want to practice what I preach. I want to have that emotional equilibrium. I want the outer success. I want the inner peace.
Yes. Yeah. The yin and the yang again.
Once again, you can't have one without the other for me.
That's right. Yeah. And you mentioned the word eulogy, and that was brought up earlier today. One good question was, have you written your own eulogy?
No.
And have you written your own will?
Yes, I have.
Have you written it in different states, in different conditions of mindset?
Have I written my will in different mindsets? No, that's a new thought for me. Would you mind elaborating further?
Well, when I was not as well centered and not having that inner peace, because I had a great trauma when I was younger, and it resulted in dreams that recurred and progressed. I had the same dream over and over again, and it was a very terrifying dream. I was running from something all the time, and it was always getting closer. And it turned out that when my awareness got to the right point, I realized that it was my spirit. It was me. And when I came to that awareness, I had a very, very powerful experience right here in my room. And a matter of fact, I woke up my wife, who was sleeping while I was working, and she was hiding behind the covers with big wide eyes going, "What is he doing?" And I thought it was only for a few moments, but it turned out for like 40 minutes that I was going through this almost a battle back and forth with, are you ready? And are you this and this and so on and so forth. And that is when I became one with who I was, right? But before that, I had written my will out of anger, out of sadness, out of a suicidal mindset. And I had written it numerous times from numerous mindsets, and each one is extremely different. And I just wanted to ask you that, well, I don't have to ask you, you already told me that you've never considered that. And I found it like, wow, what a difference of mindset that I could have. And I've since grown past that. But it was just like, wow, just amazing, and so powerful. And really, really appreciate the opportunity to share that with you, Georgina. And very cool.
I can relate to that. I've had something very similar, where we have fragmented parts of ourselves that we disconnect or we disown, and being able to integrate all the things that we judge or we repress into ourselves and to be able to thrash it out is incredibly powerful if you're able to do that consciously. And I have a friend who was on a journey. She was on an ayahuasca journey.
Okay. And
she was running away from herself. Exactly that. The man in the mask caught up with her and took off the mask, and it was her.
Wow.
Very powerful. I think we all have that day of reckoning with ourselves.
Right.
And it's incredibly powerful.
It is. And it's powerful when you can have that, because it's amazing what happens when you make the choice to become aware of that part of who you are and what you can do, and how you were held back from that previously.
Yeah.
So that's super powerful. So I've had the joy of blocking a few people that were making foolish comments just now, and I didn't want to put up your banner about your how to contact you, because I don't want these people to contact you. And if you get anything, are you willing to have me put up your banner and how people can contact you for future rebroadcasts?
Okay, put up my LinkedIn and my website. That's fine.
Okay, cool. And this
I invite anything that is constructive and helpful, but I would invite anybody who sends out anything that is not well considered to question their own intentions, to question the impurities in their own coffee cups, because really it's not about me, it's about what's coming up for them. So this is an opportunity for them in writing that message to pause and to think what's behind that. So
there you go. So I wanted to share how to make contact with Georgina, how you can get some amazing coaching, some meditation insight, some spiritual insight, how you can become a better person and leave the foolishness behind. And it's a great thing to have that opportunity, to have that chance to grow and to realize that you actually have the ability to be a loving spiritual person and have an impact, a positive impact on society. So is there anything you wanted to share as we get ready to break off, Georgina?
Only that it's been an honor and a privilege getting to know you better, Dean, as well. And to step up and step into this. This is only the second Facebook Live interview that I've had, and it's actually fun.
It is.
It's really interesting.
I agree.
So thank you for having me. And thank you all for listening.
I agree, 100%. I agree. And I'm very, very thankful for having you here. And I really, really appreciate your time. And all the way from Singapore, no less. So we'll break off the live, and then we can have a little chat after. So thank you, all you magnificent manifestors, for showing up. And Edith is saying thank you for coming, Georgina. And we appreciate that. And we'll move on. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody, you magnificent manifestors, you.